Welcome back to everyone listening to a new episode of the You Love a Day podcast. I think this is going to be episode 7 today.
Nice.
With Troy Silva on the hottest day of the year. That's what we were talking about, going swimming in the lakes here in Berlin. But a little bit about Troy. Troy and I met, I think, the beginning of the year, around January or so.
Yeah.
Through like a mutual friend, acquaintance, and kind of just connected over a couple things, and a couple things I want to talk to you about today as well. Troy is originally, I don't even know where you're originally, but you grew up in Finland, right? But you also, you grew up in Costa Rica?
Yes, yeah.
Grew up in Costa Rica, but your mom's Finnish.
Yes.
Spent some time in Finland, spent some time in Costa Rica, now spending some time in Berlin.
Yep.
And just about to go back to Finland, right? To finish your studies there. You did your Erasmus semester here.
In Berlin, yeah.
I mean, you're doing a bunch of cool things, and I think you're just overall a cool guy to talk to.
Thanks,
so I
man.
figured we should record this like timepiece before you leave, and it will be a cool thing to look back on.
Definitely. That's amazing. Thank you so much. It's an honor. And now that you said it's number 7, I think that's super cool.
It's a cool number.
Number 7 is a cool number. CR7. There we go.
Is he the GOAT, you reckon? Or who's it's a hot topic,
of course,
right,
like like
cheers, man.
Someone that has cheers, man.
Yeah.
Someone that has definitely like achieved crazy things in his career. So it's like definitely a look up to in that sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, 7 in all my childhood has been a favorite number of mine. So
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that? Just you always liked it?
Yeah, and I think it's also a little biblical. So
Okay.
growing up as a Christian kid, you get those biblical numbers, and it's number 7 is definitely one of those. So.
Okay. That's funny because that's also kind of how we connect. I remember when we first met, or kind of what we talked about first, because I went to Sydney to study there at Hillsong College. You also spent some time in Perth, Australia, right? And you did YWAM there.
Yep.
How was that experience?
Oh,
or
man.
give the people some background about.
Okay, let's start with the background.
Yeah.
So that everyone is a little bit understands. So I'm half Finnish, half Costa Rican, and why I say half is that like my mom is from Finland, my dad is from Costa Rica.
Yeah.
I was born and raised in Costa Rica, but every other year we would visit Finland because we have family and stuff there.
Yeah.
And since I was born, I knew that when I finished 9th grade in Costa Rica, we would move to Finland so that I can finish my high school there and get into uni. Like all the opportunities are really good. And yes, I grew up speaking Finnish as well, and Spanish, English, and a little bit of
German.
Yeah, now a little bit of German, yes. And so my parents, they work with YWAM. They're in YWAM, and my whole childhood I grew up in YWAM. But I think we can get into that a little more as well.
Touch on that already. How was that growing up as a YWAM kid or missionary kid in general?
It's like I would not change that at all from my childhood. It was really nice.
Yeah?
I think it's
for everyone who's listening, YWAM stands for Youth with a Mission, and it's a missionary program in a sense, but also not really like.
I can explain it. So
explain it a bit.
Yeah. So YWAM is Youth with a Mission. It's actually, I think it's soon 70 years old.
Wow.
Which is or 75, whatever. And yes, it stands for to know God and make Him known.
Okay.
So
that's kind of like the mission.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and the idea is to equip people, to disciple people, and then teach them how to go on and share about God's love in all fields of life, all spheres of society.
Yeah.
And YWAM is involved with, or has this thing that works inside, which is the University of the Nations. So the first school, many people maybe have heard, if you know about YWAM, it's the DTS, Discipleship Training School. It's a 6-month school.
I have a lot of friends who went through that.
Yeah. So that's the one school I did in Perth. And like growing up, I feel like that was really cool to see. I met lots of people. I saw how people got transformed during that school and how God changed their lives. So I think like growing up as a YWAM kid, I'm really thankful for my parents. They really involved me and my siblings in everything. I'm the oldest of 3.
Nice.
And I think that was a really like key thing or different from my childhood then, because there's also like those bad stories where people who are like kids of pastors or kids of missionaries
turn out to be the worst.
Yeah, and or also like they have some resentment towards the organization and towards God,
which is completely understandable.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
like me saying turn out the worst is not taking shots at any pastor's kid or anything, don't get me wrong. But in a sense, I also get it, because if you're in church 24/7 your entire childhood, you've never known anything else, and as soon as you move out, you might just want to see other things, you know, which is completely understandable.
Yeah, and then also like that's where I come back to that. My parents, they involved us in everything they did, so it never was for us like you focus in school, we're doing this, don't come and disturb us. Not at all. It was always like we were involved in everything, and they like ran this YWAM base in Costa Rica, and it's more like a missions orientated, so we would receive teams and organize the missionary work for them. So a lot of work with communities, kids, youth, everything like community development, all of this. So it was different. It was a really active type of stuff. And I remember as a kid, I was so excited for my parents to come and pick me up from school so I could go wherever the team is to go and translate. Because of course, I knew how to speak English and Spanish. I was able to translate.
I see. So they would do a lot of missionary work on Costa Rica already. Okay.
So we lived in the rural area of Costa Rica, like this little town where there's more cows than people.
Yeah.
It's nice because you're completely disconnected from everything.
Yeah.
Like literally because Wi-Fi does not work there. But it's like now looking back, man, it was really unique and nice to have that opportunity there. But like overall, growing up as a YWAM kid, it gave me a lot. Also in the sense that for me, God and a relationship with God was pretty like an obvious thing.
Yeah.
Not only because of the way my parents talked about it and stuff, but it was so much of what I saw. Like it wasn't that things were not only preached or taught to me, but they were shown to me. And like together we would go as a family, we would go and you know help in communities and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And since a very young age, like I feel like I really understood and got it, and like was able to have a relationship with God, and just seeing how people loved others just because of God. It was just really like a natural and normal thing for me to also like take in and do it. And for me, like I would say that I've always been a believer.
Okay.
I don't think there has been like a moment in my...
Which is interesting, because even a lot of people who grew up in church might say, oh, there was this one incident where it just clicked.
Yeah, like I feel for me it has been like that, and like that it's always been like the click was already there. Okay. Somehow. Which is, I think I can say I'm really fortunate for it, and I'm really grateful for that. And it's been like, it's allowed me maybe to also maybe jump ahead in many steps and like in my relationship with God. It was a nice childhood, really, really, really nice childhood. Yeah.
Interesting. Would you want the same for your kids?
Yes and no. Good question.
I mean, you don't have any yet.
Yeah, I don't have any yet. But
although you are an uncle already. Hey?
Yes, I am an uncle.
Congrats to that.
Thanks. I can't wait to meet her. Hopefully December we get to meet her. But in a way, I don't right now feel that God is calling me into full-time missions. Yeah. If he did, of course.
That would be my next question, I guess. Yeah.
If he did, of course, like, my kids would grow up in that. But I feel like I would... Also, my parents, they're full in ministry. My sister and her husband are full in ministry. Yeah. My little brother, he wants to be full in ministry. So it's like, it's something that's going to be, the influence is always going to be there.
Inevitable. Yeah. In a sense, impossible to run
but
away
from. As of right now, I feel like me and my wife, like, God is not yet calling us into full-time missions. Yeah. But we definitely like support and want to be involved in different ways, like supporting financially, praying, being involved in like asking how everything's going.
Yeah. And I mean, even right now, to give some more context on what you're doing right now, you're just finishing your studies. You're studying business, right? Yeah.
So I'm studying international business in Finland, and I'm doing my Erasmus exchange here in Berlin, and
nice.
That's how we got to meet as well, which is super nice.
Which is sick. And your wife is also just finishing her midwife studies, but she's also like a Finnish pop star, pop singer, or like Eurovision.
Yeah, no, she's been already 8 years, like a pop singer,
so funny,
singer, songwriter, and her career in Finland is going really well. Yeah, and it's fun and exciting to follow from a husband perspective.
Yeah. What is that like? How did you guys meet? And then she must have already been doing that when you guys met, right?
Yeah, it's a fun story. So we met in summer 2020.
Okay.
Summer 2020 we met. I had just moved from another city in Finland to Helsinki, which is the main city.
Yeah.
We had been going to the same church. I didn't know anything of her.
Mm-hmm.
She remembers that we had a couple conversations, but I don't remember necessarily having. But then she was playing Spikeball. I don't know if you know what Spikeball is.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
If you don't know, definitely go and check it out. It's a fun game, best summer game there is. And in Finland, Spikeball is pretty small, so you can just sign up to the national championships.
Really?
So she learned the game, and then she was like, "Okay, I want to sign up to the national championships." She signed up.
How fun is that?
Yeah, and then I mean, it shows a little bit of her competitiveness.
Yeah,
she's super competitive.
Yeah.
And then so with Spikeball you need 4 people. So she had her and 2 of her friends, and they were missing one more person. So she like texts this guy that we have, or like a friend we have in common.
Mutual friend, yeah.
Yeah, and he was the one actually who taught her how to play, and he's right now the Finnish champion and stuff.
Oh, right.
He's crazy good. And he's like, yeah, message Troy. Like here's his number. He's good, and he's also a believer. So I bet you guys will get along, and he's good. So you will definitely like be able to practice for the championships. Yeah. So then she messaged me in WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook Messenger, like, "Hey Troy, what's up? Me and my friends are gonna go and play Spikeball."
So she slid in your DMs.
Yeah, she slid into my DMs. And the funny thing is that in Finland we don't really use Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
But I was working during the summer, and our internal communication was through Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
So I saw the message there first, and I was like, "Who is this?" And then like super, her message was super like enthusiastic and like really alive and exciting. And you never get that in Finland, like from a stranger. Like it's really rare to get that from a stranger. So then I was like, super interesting. Then I saw the message in Instagram as well, and there I saw, because in her Facebook picture it was just like hair waving, so you didn't see the face. In Instagram I saw her like face, at least. I was like, it's her, the girl from church. Like, oh, pretty cool, nice. And then I was like, I would love to come and play Spikeball. And that evening we met there like with a friend group and started playing, and that's how everything started. Like we started hanging out together and playing Spikeball pretty much every day.
Really? Yeah. And then just kicked it up from there. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess to give context, but like, even though you might not go into full-time missions, I do feel like you guys are heavily involved into church and community building, which is something, just watching from like an outside perspective. You've come here last year in October and you're about to leave now, but I feel like you've made so many connections just like from watching, and you've run like a dinner group or community group at your church, which is just like amazing to watch. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. He's only been here for like a couple of months, but made so many like deep friendships and connections. So that's like really like admirable, I guess, in a sense. Which is also like, I don't always feel like you have to be in full-time ministry to build community or to encourage people and do those things. No.
And it's like, I think it's a new thing for me, because I mean, growing up in Costa Rica, it was full-time.
Yeah.
And then when we moved to Finland, it went to 100% zero. It's like zero, not being at all involved on ministry, in a sense. Like I was just focusing on my school.
Okay.
We would go to a church, but I really didn't find like a good youth group. It took like a couple of years to find one, and finally when I found one, it was so nice to finally be like, okay, let's get involved in stuff. But I feel like the way I then maintained my like, I don't know, it's like my serving is something I really enjoy. And I feel like when you get to serve people with not just with the purpose of having them to, or helping them know that God loves them. And that's why I'm here. I'm serving you because God loves you. And it gives me also so much. And it's something so beautiful. It's something that like because of full-time ministry, you get to do a lot in different ways than like only church ways. But then in Finland, we would do short-term mission trips to Costa Rica, and that was so refreshing always for me, like to be able to do that. And yeah, it gives a lot. Yeah.
it gives a lot, although you are giving,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Which
it's
is interesting.
it is so
interesting concept to grasp, because a lot of people might be like, oh, you're serving someone. Isn't that kind of like
taken away from you?
Yeah, taken away from you.
No, I think like when it's in the right balance, and it would be nice to actually be able to actually quote it. But there is a study made how about happiness and purpose, and people feel one of the ways people feel the most happy and purpose, or having like purpose in their life, is through serving. Like when because it shifts like perspective. You're taking away the perspective from yourself into others, and it's nice because then you're not in a sense being selfish or too focused on your own thing, and you're there to help someone else regardless of how you're right now in that moment. Of course, everything has to have like a good balance in it to it.
You can get burned out serving others as well.
Of course, like and there's a limit to everything, and I'm talking about when it's healthy, it's really giving both ways.
Interesting that you mentioned like happiness and feeling contentment, I guess, because that's also something that I've been like noticing about you and your wife. You guys just seem to have figured it out in a way, which sounds so like what the heck. But like no, but what I mean like is like you guys are traveling a ton, working out a lot, just seem overall like happy, joyful people, and like the few times that we've hung out, it's just always a positive experience, like being around you or your wife, you know. And it's not just, I feel like so easily people can portray that picture online and always make everything look so glamorous and good, but then behind the facade, it's actually quite the opposite. But with you especially, and I don't know your wife too well, but I do feel like it's genuine and it's on like true. So would you say that is kind of the secret to that, like serving others, or is there even a secret, or what do you think comes with that?
I think it's one ingredient of the secret. I mean, I hope I would have or like it would be nice to have a like
secret always sounds
like have a good answer to it. But I mean, for us, I feel like we like how we do it, manage it, or figure life out, and we first of all make sure like that our relationship with God is good. And I feel like that's our source of stuff, and I feel like I have struggled also with the idea of like honestly I don't know at all what am I going to do in 1 year. What is my work going to be? And like there's this thing of like calling in a way, what is it going to be? And I've a little bit struggled with that in a sense of like I would love to know what it is. And then seeing my wife who's like doing her music career, is like so clear what she's doing, and she's going for that, and I've been like had those moments where like I wish I knew what it was. Also for me to be able to pursue it 100%. But the conclusion that I've come with that is that like my doing is not my source of happiness. Like it can't be, because it won't never satisfy. And then I've learned to like to be okay and satisfied with what I know right now and what I'm doing right now. And I feel like that's something like then we've gone back to like, by we I mean me and my wife, like we thought about, okay, like definitely our relationship with God is number one, and that's something that brings, of course, satisfaction. We want Him to be our source of life and of satisfaction eventually. And then yes, our marriage as well. So working in our marriage and figuring that out. Like now it's 2 years since we got married.
Congrats!
So thank you.
Just had the 2-year anniversary.
We just had it. So I feel like a lot of learning in that as well. Like marriage is beautiful, but it's also like not only marriage but life is what you make it. And I feel like we've learned to make it work really well. I mean, we're only 2 years in, but still, it's
taking 1 year at a time.
Exactly. And it gives so much as well. And then I feel like it's beautiful because we are in a place where not as much time or energy goes into maintaining marriage in a way that we can also give out from that place in like a healthy way. Then also like finding ways of being refreshed, I think is like key as well. And like you said about we do sports, we do all this. I feel like we're both personality types. We're pretty outgoing and social.
Yeah.
My wife says that I'm the complete extreme in that. Like she sometimes needs her own time. Like for me, just when in the mornings when I sit in the toilet, that's enough alone time for me. I'm super like extreme in this.
Yeah, that's funny.
But then we both also love doing sports, and it's a way we find like refreshment from.
Yeah.
So it's not just like, yes, we want to be healthy and stuff, and it's nice that that's our way of getting refreshed during sports. So we are pretty active in that sense as well. And it's funny if we would, like, in a way, if I would come back home after school, I'm feeling kind of tired, going for a run gets me going. Like it gets me, 'cause after the run I'm like, okay, I'm alive, I'm good to go again. For other people it's different. They might need to retreat a little bit, sit down, read, watch something. Yes, sometimes also like physical rest is definitely needed,
for sure.
And it's different. I mean, I of course also enjoy watching my shows, but I've noticed that that's something that definitely gives me a lot, like doing sports. And I feel like having that, being aware of who you are, how you function, and what you need, and finding the ways of doing them and having them in balance gives you like a well-rounded good life in a way.
Yeah, interesting. Has it always been like that for you, or did it take you some time to figure out? Because you mentioned like different personality types, and how does one kind of find that out for themselves, or how did you find it out for you? Because you seem to have a balance pretty well now.
I think I have maybe I have done enough reflective work on myself, I would say, that I've gotten to know myself. And it's I'm a really social type of person. So I go a lot with the flow. Also, like, depending on the people group I'm with, and I just, as long as I'm with the people there, I enjoy it, and I go with it. But then I feel like the 2020, when my parents moved back to Costa Rica, I stayed in Finland. It was a pretty big like change for me. I was like, oh no, like the core
pandemic hit as well.
And then I was it a little bit, and before that I was in the army, and then I was in my DTS. So those were like the times I detached from my family and core. And I feel like it was a little bit of independence. How do you say it?
Independency.
Independency. Independency. That I got to actually figure out things for myself. You know, you didn't have your parents like telling you what to do, how to do, or okay, now it's time to come home, like, or having your limits that after 12 you need to be home or something like this. Now, where you have you can choose completely what it is that you do. You learn things, and I feel like through that I learned a lot. And then also, because I'm really social, and I've realized and figured out that I'm someone who processes while talking. Like I would talk with my friends a lot, and just realize, okay, here as I'm talking, telling these things, I'm like processing.
Okay, so this is great right now.
This is really nice actually. But it's I feel like that's also how I found out more about myself. And okay, definitely relationships are the ones that like teach you so much about yourself. Like I feel like being married is like having a mirror in front of you all the time telling you
that's what
everything.
I keep hearing from people.
And it's like, it can sound terrifying, but I think it's also beautiful, because it like, you have someone that, okay, even though the mirror is right there, they accept you and they love you. And the mirror is not there to show you your flaws, but more like show your strengths and maintain you where your potential can be, and like pushing you forward. So I think that, like, definitely, like, now that we had our 2nd year anniversary, we were sitting down and just laughing like, wow, we've both grown so much during the last 2 years. And I think it's like we both like have that wanting to develop and grow together. And definitely marriage is a big teacher. Like you learn so much through marriage.
That's wild. That's one of my best friends. He was, I think, in episode 2. He got married quite young as well. I mean, he just turned 23 this year, I think, or 22. 22. I think. So
wow.
He got married when he was 20. He was so young. But just to watch him from afar as well, and being able to see and witness how much he's been growing just by being married, how much more responsibility he's taken up, and he's self-employed, running his own business, and how he's just been able to, but they're both supporting each other, which is so beautiful to see. Like she's holding, she's having his back, he's having hers, and like he's running this business. She finished school, but at the same time, like making sure that, you know, he can focus on the business side of things. Like it's incredible, like the partnership they have. Like big shout out to you, Helge and Grace. But it's honestly like, yeah, marriage must be such a cheat code in a way as well to personal growth. Although
definitely,
it can be very hard and frustrating at times as well, right?
I mean, like, definitely because of that, like it's like you get someone that points out things in you that you're like, yeah, I know, but like you can't anymore ignore them because like someone else will see them. You know, when you're by yourself, you can just like sweep it under the carpet and like and figure it out later and have that mentality. But then when you're married, it's like you can't just sweep it under the carpet. It will eventually you will eventually have to deal with it. And but I mean, like, yes, there of course there's like I feel like with the first years it's literally two people where their lives like boom come together. So of course there's gonna be like clash, like the fingers, like you need to figure out where the fingers go right so they can be together. And I've just learned, like, man, you just have to talk about everything, and definitely like
managing expectations.
That as well, of course, yes, that as well. And we had so many long talks about everything, and like even we even made this little rule that we would even talk about the smallest thing. Doesn't matter how ridiculous it sounds to yourself, just better say it and talk about it, and just say it so that we can talk about it. And then one thing that we've had consistently in the relationship is like, in the Bible, it says like the truth will set you free. Yeah. And also like even about saying these little things that are maybe feel ridiculous or sound ridiculous to you. It's in a way, in that moment, it is your truth. And when you say it out loud, you have a little bit like accepted it, and it's on the table. Then you can talk about it, and that like frees you from whatever guilt or whatever you're feeling in the moment, or that this is ridiculous, pointless. But then you can work through those things together. And I think that's been like a thing and a tool that we've just, as simple as it is, like used a lot, and it has helped us get to where we are right now. And it's been it's brought so many good conversations as well, and like so much good growth.
Wow. Yeah. You mentioned growth a couple of times. But what were the areas that you now, after 2 years, you're like, wow, I've grown so much, you know, by being married? You mentioned, you know, reflecting and those things, but anything else that comes into mind, like who were you 2 years ago compared to today?
Who was I 2 years ago? Man, good question. 2 years ago, okay, 2 years ago I had, I think, yes, so much more confident in myself
today.
Yes, so much more confident in myself today, and like having that, confident and focused and like determined. I would say
confident, focused, and determined.
Yeah, okay. More confident, focused, and determined. Not that I wasn't before, but because I found this amazing woman. And I wanted her in my life, and I was like, okay,
beautiful.
I need to like, I can't just be, I need to step up my game. and then when things got serious, when we got engaged, or like not serious, when things started getting more serious and we got engaged, I was like, okay, like I want to lead this relationship. I want to lead this marriage the right way. I'm going to take it seriously and like, and like take that place that has been put to you. Like you can't, I feel like I took it there in that sense that I want to make sure that I am doing my part of it and pushing us forward. So that definitely like had me, I had to be more focused, had to be more determined, and definitely had to be more, or the confidence. I feel like, of course, she helped boost my confidence so much, but but being more confident in myself as well. And yeah, I think those are maybe.
Yeah. Sick, bro. What would you say your role in the relationship marriage is? Because you said taking on your role.
Yeah. So I think it is like a there's like in the Bible it says that the man would be like the head of the house, and I totally believe that and see that.
Yeah.
And I think I've learned it from my example of my dad, and I'm not saying like because I'm the head of the house I have the last word, and not at all like this.
Yeah, what does that mean in today's day and age? Because a lot of people might be like, yo, what did he just say?
Exactly.
I
know.
Like...
So for how I see it is that I make sure that I'm taking initiative regardless of the situation or of her in a way, or what she's doing.
Yeah.
In the sense of like in every aspect of marriage, but I'm also talking about like how do we bring God into a relationship and stuff, like taking initiative, be proactive,
okay,
not passive and being like, okay, I'm gonna just wait for her to maybe do or take the initiative and then I would go. But no, I want to be proactive in it. And then I feel like, yes, like because God has said that man is the head of the house, I feel like there's a little bit of also like a blessing over that. Like when you take ownership of that leadership. And when we're talking about if you think about like this Bible verse, like I'm also thinking that you can think about it like from a business, not boss perspective, but leadership perspective. A leader is there guiding, showing, not saying and telling. It's guiding and showing. And me as a husband, I want to be like guiding us closer to God, guiding us towards our potential, showing us how to get there. And yes, I'm alone, I'm not going to be able to do it, but because we're together, it's like it's a partnership. It's together that we do this, and I'm not saying that I'm more valuable to her or I have a higher potential.
It's not ruling over the other person.
Not at all. It's I definitely like involved her in everything. She involves me in everything as well. And like when it comes to decision making, like how we use our finances, how we're going to use our time, we talk about it together. It's not that I'm just saying like, hey, I'm gonna buy this. I'm gonna go out with these guys. Like, see you then when I come back. No, like it's and
see you later.
Actually, in our case, it's funny because we've had to learn it a little bit from the other side.
Yeah.
So like she has had to learn a lot, maybe to also let me have a say in things, or let me and of course I have had to learn to take that, like say I can say things. And because I feel like I was more of a people pleaser, and I wanted to avoid so much conflict that I had to learn that it's okay, I can be mad sometimes, I can be speak up. And that's like one of the areas where I feel like I've grown already a lot, and it's so much easier now that we've both grown in these things. And it's like reflecting backwards, we're just like laughing like, oh wow, that's so funny that was us back then. Now we've grown so much that it's but I would say it's definitely like leading the relationship, being there, pushing us forward, and like taking initiative and being proactive. But then also I know that she is doing the same, so we're both two people having that strong drive of going forward and going together forward. It's then beautiful. It works really well. And then of course, like there's gonna be situations and places and moments and things when it's not as balanced in that. Like I would need to support more, she needs to support me more, or whatever the situation is. Like that's why you have each other. You can work through it together.
Yeah, and sometimes life happens, and you need the other one to lift you up, or vice versa. Yeah. Really interesting. Out of just curiosity, because me and the friends that I met up earlier for lunch had this discussion on how we would do it, and I'm just curious about how married people are doing it, because all three of us not married were just thinking about how we would do it, because there are these statistics, right, that I think like 50% of all divorces are because of financial reasons. And that doesn't even have to be like lack of finances or resources, but also like miscommunication about it or other things. And you don't have to like say anything you're not comfortable talking about. But one thing we were just thinking about and like arguing back and forth about how we would deal with bank accounts. So my proposition was having one combined bank account where both of our salaries, and I guess you two are students, but I'm sure there's still like some money coming in, otherwise how would you survive? But having one combined bank account where both salaries are coming in.
Yeah.
And then each person having one separate bank account where like a percentile of the combined income is going out to. So you have a little bit of like fun money to splurge on. Even as practical as if you want to buy a gift to the other person, if you only have one shared bank account,
you see it.
You already see it before you even can give the gift to the other person. So out of practical things, that would make sense. And to me, I was like, okay, put it in there. You can invest some of that money. You can, I don't know, pay your rent off together with that money, and then have your own kind of splurge money to spend however you like without having to explain too much, right? And they were like, nah, I want to have it in my own account and then put it in the combine. And like, no, I don't even want my husband to know how much money I'm making. I was like, yo, y'all got trust issues. That's crazy. But I'm just curious to find out like, what that practically looks like. Because
super good question. Because like, yes, money is a big topic. Like, okay, like money is sadly, it's a big driver for many things. We need money. Money is important.
100%. Yes. You can't neglect it.
Exactly. You need it. And I think, especially when you are married or if you're already dating and you're in a serious relationship, you have to talk about it. You have to be comfortable talking about it. I think we even started talking about it with like, hey, do we have any debts?
Yeah.
How do you have any debts? Do I have any debts? We talked about that.
That's a super fair question.
Talked about
man, getting married to someone with like 100K debt. All of a sudden, that's your debt too.
No, exactly. Yes, it is your debt too, and that's maybe it's like a shift in mentality. I'll get to that soon.
Yeah,
I think I would love to share a little bit with this because it's
go ahead.
Something I feel like I've grown a lot with. So a little bit of a backstory quickly before getting into money. So in YWAM, people don't get a salary. Yeah. How the financial side works is that you gather a group of people who support you monthly, and it works in the sense that you want to involve people into the work that you're doing. So I grew up, my parents being in YWAM, they didn't get a salary, and we never had we trusted God that people would donate or like people would be involved and want to give, or that God would provide in a moment.
It's the truest missionary.
Yes, and
like a lot of,
like there wasn't a single moment when we didn't have enough. There were so many moments where it was looking like, okay, we don't have enough. So then this is where I'm so thankful my parents involved us. My dad, instead of like trying to figure it out and he would just sit us down in the living room and we would just pray together as a family. He was like, hey, this is the situation. Let's pray. Give it to God, and then let's see how it goes. And we did that, and then as soon as like God provided, most of the time, many times it was that someone just felt from God that they should give money, and it happened to be exactly the same amount that we were missing.
Those stories are always so crazy.
I know they are crazy,
and like I experienced those couple like in Australia or when I was in the States as well. I'm like, what? Yeah,
they're crazy, and they're nice because I feel like when it comes to money and doing and like emissions in the sense like, yes, it's super good that we trust God and we actually trust God with everything. And I have a good story for this, but we can maybe later talk about this in my own life, how I actually had to learn to put my trust in God, even though I grew up seeing this and like day-to-day living this, but we never had a situation like this. So this is my background with money. So
that's
your
upbringing with like how you guys dealt with money.
So just like
quite unique.
Everything was a unique, different way of doing, very different to like here in the Western world. If you think about it, some people think it's really irresponsible. So there's many opinions in it. For us, yes, God was always faithful. He kept his promise. He was faithful. My parents work really, really hard in what they do. Many people enjoy, and they know that they can't put time and effort into it. So they know that, okay, my way of helping here is and being a part of this is by giving 10 euros a month, something like this. Now I'm in the other situation where I'm a student. I also do photography and video, so that brings me an extra income. And now with my wife, because she's a singer, she has a good income from there. And she's
Streams.
also she's like
live performances.
Exactly. She's studying and stuff. And I mean, I'm in one semester I'm going to be also working, so we like financially we're doing really well, or like we're really stable in the situation, and I'm really grateful and thankful for that.
It's great for you guys.
And it's amazing. Like yes, the financial system in Finland is really good, and it supports young people and helps a lot with things.
Like student support or like loans?
Student support, loans. We own our own house already, for example.
What?
Yeah.
What? Are you 24?
Yes.
In Costa Rica?
No,
or?
in Finland. Yeah.
How did that happen?
It's okay. Like my wife, I'm so grateful that she was really smart with money.
Yeah.
Like from a young age, because she was performing and doing good, she was getting money, but she has had to learn to also enjoy life.
Yeah.
She would save up a lot. Sorry. There we go.
You're good. Nice.
So I'm thankful that she learned to save, and her parents really also taught her that, to save up money. And in Finland, you can open this savings account that is proof for the government that you are able to save up money, and it's made for younger
credit
people.
Score.
Credit score. So that and this account is specifically so that when you want to buy your first house, the government is going to back that loan.
Oh.
So backing, I don't know how much you know, but backing a loan normally is maybe the hardest thing in buying your first house, because
backing a loan, what exactly does that mean?
So it means, let's say you're going to buy a house. I'm just going to example 100K will cost a house.
Yeah.
Berlin, impossible to find.
Good luck. Just find a little shelter in Görlitzer Park or somewhere. I don't know.
100. Let's say the house is 100K. You would do a down payment of 10,000.
Yeah. 10%.
10%. Yeah.
Finance the rest.
Finance the rest. But that rest financing, it needs some type of backing. Yes, you can show proof that you are working and you're getting this type of income. That yes, you can pay it.
Yeah.
But what if you get sick? You need something that can back that up. So in a way, usually people put their parents would say, okay, let's put our house, 40% of our house can be the backing for the rest of your loan.
Oh, okay, I get it now,
yeah. So you need in a way, if that was 90% or 90,000 needs to be backed.
Yeah.
So you need something that has a value of 90,000 that you can tell to the bank that, okay, this you have the right to use. If it goes bad, then you get this. Yeah, it's scary. This is how it works. Mm-hmm. But with these accounts, in Finland, it's the nice thing. The government then says hey, I'm gonna back this. You have shown that since you were 15, you have saved 10 euros a month and gotten up to whatever. You have proven yourself that yes, you're able to do this. So we're gonna back your loan. Mm-hmm. I think that's really nice, and it helps so many people.
I don't know what the system is like in Germany, but I'm super curious to find out more about it, because investing in real estate just seems like a smart thing to do.
It is a smart thing to do.
So she did that, and she got the loan backed, and that's how she was able to purchase.
Yeah, and exactly. And that's how we found our house, and
it's a proper house.
No, it's it's not an apartment, but it's like a duplex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, duplex.
Wow.
Okay. But a duplex of 3, so there's 3 houses in the one. We are. But duplex, and it has 2 floors, and and
it's in Helsinki. Or?
Yeah, in Helsinki.
Oh.
And it's nice. And then the fun thing interesting thing with all this,
it's huge.
It has. Actually, you don't even need that big of a salary for you to be able to have good financial goals and achieve those goals. Mm-hmm. And especially when you're married, when it's 2 of you, and here we go into the thing. When it's 2 of you, and the 2 of you are working, it's the chances and possibilities just become so much bigger.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to buy a house, I'm even here in Berlin, for example, if you 2 have an income of, let's say, each at 2,500. Yeah. So together you have 5,000.
Yeah.
And here in Berlin, let's say you might need that 500,000-600,000 euros. And to get that first 10%, yes, you just set a financial plan together that, okay, next 10 years, next 3-5 years, let's save up money so that we can get the loan or have the down payment. Yeah, exactly. And it's completely possible. When it's the 2 of you, it's
a cheat code having 2 incomes.
It is a cheat code.
I think I've read this a couple of times. It's still the best way to build wealth, to have 2 incomes. Marriage is still the best vehicle to build wealth.
And then of course there's going to be for example, we're now young and we do want kids, but when we have kids, then it maybe means that we're gonna sacrifice a little bit from our working. So we want to be present at home.
Of course.
So then we would be that. Those are things that you would plan in ahead. But how for accounts and stuff, how we do it. We have
and the nitty gritty of things.
we have our joint account.
Okay.
And we literally, it says main account, savings, and then we were renting our apartment in Finland while we were here in Berlin, and we were renting our apartment.
You were
here.
renting it out.
Yeah, renting it out. So then we had like the apartment account in a way, where just like the living costs would go and stuff like that. But those were our accounts. Like we have the joint account. All of our income goes into the main account
together. So,
together, and then we have also like we sat down and made a plan of what our like financial goals would be.
Yeah.
So we save up money every month as well.
Yeah.
We invest money every month as well.
Nice.
And even like right now, because there's not a double income completely, because I'm studying. Sometimes there comes a little more when I get gigs and stuff like this.
Yeah.
But then we still do it. But I know like when we're both working 100%, then we can do it even with a bigger like a bigger amount.
And you won't fall into like lifestyle inflation where when you make more you automatically spend more as well. But right now you're already building the habit to save and to invest.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is key. Okay. But regarding like, do you have your own little debit card that you can buy your wife flour with, or just?
So
how do you guys do that?
When our anniversary and Christmas and stuff like this is coming, we say like, okay, don't go and check the account.
Okay.
But it's nice also like now that we had our anniversary.
Yeah.
So we like from the accounts we have, it's like we have access to each other's accounts. So before we met, of course, we had our own accounts, and then we have access to each other's accounts, and then we have just chosen which one we use as the main one, and the cards from there.
Okay.
Like, again, the Finnish system is really easy and good with this. And then I have a card for another account, and she has a card for another one, but we still have our card for the main one, and we would just use that always. But then, for example, now we went to the anniversary, I like booked a nice hotel and stuff. So then I did it from the other account so she wouldn't notice. But then of course I later like told her.
Okay.
But and then
you kind of do have it, but
but we don't use it. Like we're when it comes to money, we're super open about it, and we want to be. And I feel like we learned to be, also because. Because we don't want it to be an issue, because it is an issue for so many people.
And even among Christians.
Definitely. No, especially among Christians, I feel like
that's true. Yeah,
like it doesn't justify at all.
Especially among Christians, because they're like, oh, we love each other so much, we love God so much, God's at the center, but then neglect that part, and things can. Like, I don't know if you know Dave Ramsey, but he's this like Christian finance coach mentor thing, and. Well, he's just coaching people to get out of debt and to set up a saving plan and those things. Yeah. And he's like done that especially among Christians, because he saw this need that Christians, and especially people in the church, growing up in the church, like you, like, oh, God will provide. Of course he will, but that does not excuse us to be good stewards of what we've been entrusted, you know?
There you go,
And that's why it's so good, like saving, investing, and openly talking about it as well. Because God wants us to, flourish and prosper and all those things. But if we're not smart with it, then, it's like that parable of being entrusted, I think, like, well, what's that parable of like one coin, and then the guy comes back after a year and one has turned like the 5 coins into 10, the other one 2 into 4, and the other one who's only gotten 1, he just kind of dug it into the hole. It's like, oh, I only wanted to give you the 1 back, and it's like, nah, you like need to you need to work, and like you've been entrusted this to grow it and to and that applies to I guess so many things in life as well, of like, and you mentioned this earlier, where like life is what you make out of it.
What you make
like,
it,
everyone's been played different cards, but it kind of, everyone can deal their cards how they want to.
And there's like there's so much information nowadays. If you want to learn, you can.
That's true. You have no
all
excuse.
the YouTube tutorials, like really, you can find everything. You can learn. And like when it comes to finances, I think like I had today a presentation about inequality in the world, and one of the aspects we were talking about inequality in wealth and inequality in income in the world, and it's like the numbers are crazy how the inequality levels are. But then like also inequality in financial services, and one of the aspects that keeps that there is that even though people would have access to financial services, they don't use them just because they're not educated in them. They don't know about them. They don't understand them. And like finances, it's okay. And then there's the other thing with this whole financial thing is that nowadays we want things boom, 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 quick.
Yeah.
And as I'm saying this, I'm saying it also to myself. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
of course,
like
yeah.
it doesn't mean that, okay, you're going to start investing, find the one stock, you're going to put it all in there and it's going to grow up. No, like literally it's like a time game.
Yeah.
Like you just be consistent, and in 30, 40 years, you can take it out and you're settled. You're good.
Yeah.
And
so you guys go more with like the ETF?
Yeah, we go with the safe ones, and then yes, we do also do some stocks. We have some friends that have started some companies that are going well, so we also have like invested into them.
Oh shoot!
Hoping it keeps on going.
You guys
well.
are set up good already. Yeah,
but like crazy. I feel like we have been fortunate enough to have like those connection. That relationship with money is also good, and then I think like between each other we talk about it as well.
Yeah,
because like if I hear something like, oh, I would love to put some money into this, I don't just go and do it. I also like, hey babes, I found out this, I was thinking I could put this amount of money into it, what do you think? Not in a sense like going to ask for permission, but in a way that going and working it together. And actually,
and it's also good running it through someone else.
Yes.
Like Helge, we talked about this in the past, and he was like, dude, if I want to buy something like stock because I see, oh, this might be potential, I first have to convince my wife that it's a good decision. And if she's not convinced, we're not going to do it. Because, dude, like, especially I think us as guys, we can get so excited about the possible outcome. Like, oh, this stock's going to 10x or to the moon. And then, you don't realize like what like train thought you ran it, or like you in the depth of Twitter or Reddit or somewhere, and you find out about it, and then no, don't do this.
No, definitely. And I feel like also for guys, I feel like we can have an ego when it comes to money.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's like, that can be dangerous. And like, that's something also in our relationship. Like we, she was for a long time, or like when we were dating, I was also working. And I was like through working and the support that I got from like Finnish government to take loans and stuff, I was living well, I was fine. And I was working, so I was making extra money. Then when we got married, I still kept on working, even though she had really the attitude like, no, it's like that she has an income, and it's not that she didn't at all have the attitude like, this is my money. She was a little like, this is our money. But it literally took me wait, how long? Like 3-4 months to actually be able to accept that, okay, this is our money. Not at all that she would, but I feel like that was a little ego thing with me. I was still working, because not because I needed to, but just because I couldn't. It took me a little time to accept it.
I don't blame you, man. I don't know how I would behave or act when I knew, okay, my wife's like, and it always is situational, sometimes you might not be able to work as much, you're studying and whatnot, your wife's still a little bit ahead. I mean, she's been like doing music for so long now. She's built up this career thing. I don't know how I would act to be fair. Like if my wife was making more than me, I might feel a certain way, type of way about myself.
No, definitely. It felt, and then and also I feel like with God, I was like, I got caught. Like, hey, like this is just your ego talking here. Like you need to let go. It doesn't determine your value or anything like this. And I felt like, of course, like I grew up being like, here goes again the being the head of the house. I want to also provide for my family.
Exactly, because that's also a huge part of what we see as guys as our role, right? Like provider, protector.
And of course, like I know that when we have kids and then like she won't be able to focus as much on certain things. Then it's where I get to then put more effort and work more.
And it's not like you're not putting in effort.
Exactly. It's not that I'm just chilling and she's doing everything. Like, of course not.
Babe, you bring in the money. I'm chilling here. I'm good.
I'm the one buying all this stuff. No.
I'm on the podcast round.
No, not at all. And I actually then I took the attitude of so because she does a lot of gigs and stuff, and I am a photographer and do video as well. Then I was like, hey, I'm gonna do everything I can to make her job a little way easier with certain things. And it's been so nice because she has involved me in many things, all the decision making, all these things. So it's been super nice because then I've been able to get to know this whole music industry in Finland and stuff. And like all her visual stuff, I get to do, and it's so much fun, and we get to do it together.
See, and that's also that's beautiful.
It is fun. It's beautiful. Yeah.
And that's also a good way keeping it in the family. I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
You could always outsource another photographer or video guy, but doing it yourself.
Yeah, it's worked nice, and the label likes it, so even better.
Yeah.
It's been really good like that.
What helped you to overcome that ego struggle, though, to accept that situation?
So good question, man. I think like I said, I'm like the one that processes talking.
Yeah.
It took maybe a little bit while to me to recognize it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just working, and then the situation internally in the company I was working in started going a little bit bad. So then I started also looking like I could maybe just leave the company right now.
What kind of company was that?
So I was selling ultrasound machines for hospitals in Finland. Oh, so I was like full on in conferences and contacting.
Will Smith in The Pursuit of Happiness.
No, but except that he bought the machines. I wasn't buying the machines. I was representing the company. I wasn't like, that would have been that
would have been crazy.
Yeah. But I was meeting up with head doctors and all of this too.
How old were you when you did that?
22. Yeah.
Shoot. So you also used to do some sales, yeah.
Yeah. I did some sales. So,
okay.
Yeah. 22. And it went well. I learned a lot. I was first just an assistant, then they promoted me to like a rep.
Nice.
And then I had some conferences to go to and stuff like this.
Yeah.
But then internally, there it just got crazy.
Okay.
So then I also, because there was like massive corporation change.
Okay.
So yeah. Then I was like, okay, this is a good time to also leave.
You were doing that while you're studying?
Yeah, I was doing while I was studying. And so I feel like because of that, it also gave me that little extra push, like, hey, you could leave, and it will be maybe nicer. And then when I started playing with the idea of leaving, I realized, like, hold up, I don't know if I want to leave, because then I'm not like bringing anything to the table. Yeah. I'm just like consuming in a way, and then
living off my wife's money.
And then I was like, because we had set up the rule that, okay, whatever, how small and ridiculous or how hard the thing is to say, we have to say it. So then I got home, and then I like talked with her and told her how I was feeling, and then we started talking more and more. And how I said, I processed by talking, so the talk just kept on going, so I never started realizing more things. And I feel like just that, through talking it through with her, and also hearing her like not only hearing but seeing how she was like not at all having that feeling like of this is my money, you can't touch it. No, she was like, this is us, this is our, like, I've always had this attitude.
That's
and
beautiful,
and she was also and I'm so grateful and thankful for that, because for some people it can be a hard thing.
Hey, especially for a lot of girls that have like issues, maybe, or seen issues within their own family or like closer friend group circle where guys just kind of run away with the whole money. They weren't set up in a way, and they're just kind of,
and they have earned it. Like they have earned it. Of course, it's like it, but it's so beautiful that she had that relationship with money already beforehand, and like for her that was already set. Like she had that attitude when we got married. Before we got even married, she had that attitude.
Yeah,
and it was, I think, it was super beautiful. And then when the day I quit my job, actually, I was a little bit struggling. I was walking back home and I was like, dang, like, oof. And then I opened the door to my house, or to the house, and she's there waiting with 2 like glasses of champagne, like, hey, like celebrating that you did it, you quit your job.
Nice.
And I just started crying there in the moment. Wow. I was like, it felt so hard to do that decision, and I didn't realize how hard it was. And then just seeing her way of like, in a way, accepting and being proud of me for doing that decision, I was like, wow, like it's just beautiful. Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah. But definitely for your guy friends, man, you guys need to just, when you find a girl, really just be open about it, talk about it.
Yeah.
Because then there's the other side where people try to hide some areas of finance. And the more you keep something away from the relationship, it's going to come up, and it's going to build up more issues and problems. So like, and I think from the beginning, in the relationship, when you start talking about it, it's so much easier. If you do it, like, if you're 2-3 years in and then you start doing changes in the relationship, it's hard. But if you do it from the beginning, it's so much easier.
Building the foundation.
And I mean, then you can like to the practical of who gets what account, and then you can figure it out.
Figure out what works best for you.
Exactly.
As well.
And then as individuals, you might also have different relationships with money. Some people have issues with money, some don't. Some need to learn better spending habits, some don't. So then like you can, because you're working together, you talk about it, you are like, okay, I think for the next 6 months, let's have 2 separate accounts, and we'll put into your account, we'll put this set amount of money, and when you run out of that money, you will realize that, or like help keep track of things and like help get better habits and stuff like this. So it's like you definitely need to just like be really open about it and talk about it.
Yeah, and you can try out different things for sure. Do one thing and see what works best for you.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's a huge topic, man. I'm glad I asked you about it, because we were having a heated discussion earlier. I was like, guys, you guys are true.
But it is an interesting topic, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. All that to like answer the first question as well, like the secret of living like this content, happy life. I guess it's, being married at this early stage of life, holding each other accountable, growing through that, having a wise relationship with money as well definitely helps, because otherwise if you're struggling financially the whole time, it's going to be rough to really enjoy the good things in life, One thing I did want to talk to you about working out though was because I saw on your story recently as well, you completed the Spartan Race.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. And you came in first as well for your age group, or?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you, man. It was so nice. Like, I think I've always.
What is it exactly?
Okay, so
what
Spartan Race, it's like it's if you've heard of Tough Mud.
Yeah. I think so.
So Spartan Race is actually the original one. Like it's a kind of like a trail run with obstacles in it, and you have to complete them. If you don't complete the obstacles, you have punishments. Or I mean, you have to do either burpees or run extra or something like this. And it's just like I would say like a challenge in a sense.
David Goggins type of.
They don't know me, son.
Who's carrying the boat?
But
not as crazy.
It was something that I've always wanted to do but never had the chance to.
Okay.
And I love that like sense of challenging myself physically.
Yeah.
And I remember like first time I ever ran 5 kilometers, like, wow, I can run 5K. Then I ran 10. I was like, wow, I can run 10K. If ever comes a situation I need to run 10K, I already know I can do it.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's like started building up. And then like when I was in the army, there I even had like crazier challenges in the sense like physically and mentally, like, doing some really long hikes and exercise and trainings, and then like knowing that my body is capable of doing this. And then I the Spartan Race, I've always wanted to do it, and actually my birthday was in January, and I told my wife like, hey, like this Spartan Race, I googled it, it's in Germany, this is the thing I want for my birthday.
How much is it expensive to sign up for?
Even I think it's like depends where you book it.
Okay.
But I think it's like a couple hundred, 200-300.
Yeah.
And it depends which category you do. So there's the Spartan Sprint, it's a 5K. Then there's Spartan Super, which is a 10. Then there's the Beast, which is a 21. And then there's Ultra, the 50. That will be the next one. So I did the 21K.
Oh, right. So half marathon.
Half marathon.
With obstacles.
Yeah, with obstacles. It was 21 kilometers and 30 obstacles. And it was so much fun. Like I did it with a friend of mine from Finland. He flew over here, and then we went to Kulmbach in north of Byron, in the middle of nowhere. But it was so beautiful, like with mountains and stuff. And then we had our nice running plan. Like with nutrition and with water, like we made sure that we were drinking enough and eating enough so that our energy levels would stay up the whole time. Yeah. And then we were like, okay, when it comes to the obstacles, like we had never done this, so we didn't know at all how it is. Like, let's just take it one at a time, take our time, make sure we complete it so that we don't have to do the burpees. Because if like worst case scenario, it would have been 21 kilometers and 300 burpees. So
No,
so I know, and I hate burpees. I like really hate burpees.
Are the worst.
They're so bad, man. Dude. I mean, they're good, but they're
always
bad.
Prevent doing burpees. I should be doing them more.
But then we ran. The obstacles were surprisingly easy for us. Okay. So we both do bouldering.
Yeah.
And there were many of them are like hanging obstacles.
Grip
you have
strength,
grip strength and stuff like this. And also like our hands, because we go climbing pretty often, our hands are like, the skin in our hands is pretty strong.
Let me see. Let me feel as well. Okay.
Yeah, I have. It goes even up here. Like I I've never done hand care. Now because I go bouldering, like I file my hands and put nice cream and stuff.
Oh, does that help?
Yeah, it helps. Like if the calluses get too big, then if it is to rip, it rips too much.
Yeah.
So it's better to have like sanded down. Also because then you get more grip. Yeah, there you go.
You get better grip if you have less of it.
Yeah, because if you have a callus, it's like one point is a little bit higher, so only that surface is touching. So if you cut it down or put it down, then you have more surface, so more grip in a way.
Because the one time I went bouldering a couple weeks ago now, my entire hand. Did I show you pictures of it?
No, you didn't.
It was all broken, all ripped off. It was crazy.
Yeah,
it hurt so much.
Yeah. It can, the first times are bad. If like they can be really bad easily. You need to take care of them. Like be careful with them.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that. I thought this will just get thick and thick, and that's better.
I mean, it gets thick and thick, but the thing is, like your hands get so used of because you're climbing, the skin also goes away.
Yeah.
So your body like makes more hand skin in a way quicker.
Yeah.
So if you're not like consuming it as much, then you need to do it yourself somehow so that it stays better and more healthy in a way.
Okay, I might have to start doing that. Also for jiu-jitsu, like grip strength is such a big thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't really need like the extra skin in the hand, but just being able to hold on.
Oh yeah, man. Then you have to come climbing more often. We have to go and do
it. We should get one session in before you leave.
So
although my bouldering skills aren't really
We'll see.
Yeah. Anyway, so because of your bouldering skills, the
obstacles were easier because in a way, like I saw for some people in the first hanging obstacle, their hands ripped open, and then we still had like 17 more hanging ones to go. So then
you're not allowed to use any.
Some people had gloves and stuff, but then for us it was easy to complete them. It was nice. Then the hardest the hardest thing was that there was 900 meters of elevation gain.
Oh, okay.
So there were some crazy uphills. We didn't run them up. We were just like walking with a fast pace. So we were, every chance we had to run, we were like running or jogging, and then when there was like uphills, we would like walk them fast in a way. And then obstacles, we would complete them and keep on going. One obstacle that was the worst was this chain carry up a hill.
Okay.
It was maybe like 300-400 meters of like what we needed to carry it, but the chain was maybe like 40 kilos heavy, and because of the shape of it, like the ring things would hit in your shoulders. It hurt actually a lot. So that was maybe the worst because it just hurt to carry it. It was awkward to carry.
Yeah, I can imagine. Okay.
Yeah, but it was nice, a nice challenge. So then there is the elite level, then there is the age group levels, and then there's the open. So we competed in the open one, and the open is just like first timers as well. We didn't know at all, and still in the open at the end you have like they would categorize you by gender and age. So I came in the open category in my age group. I came in first.
Nice.
I was super surprised. I was like, oh wow, okay. But still, like I ran it in.
Do it more often.
Yeah, I would have to. But the reality then comes. I ran it in 3 hours 15.
Yeah.
And in the elite men, the first one who ran it, he ran an hour and 50.
Oh shoot.
Yeah. There's so much to catch up on to that. It's like
an hour and a half.
Yeah, so much.
Jeez,
so yeah. But it was so much fun. I would definitely want to do it again. Do a couple of these again, and then I would love to, of course, you need to challenge. You need to take the next one, which is the 50K.
Yeah, wow, 50K. Dude,
I know it sounds ridiculous,
I've
but
never even done like a half marathon. I think the closest I've got was like 10, 12, 13K or something like that. Do you follow like a working out routine, running routine?
So we were just doing the 75 hard challenge.
Ah, true.
Yeah. And actually the 75 hard ended on a Friday, and Saturday I ran the Spartan Race.
Nice.
So it was like a super nice way of ending the whole thing. So during the 75 hard, like I was working out every day for 75 days.
Yeah.
It was nice, but now that I'm not doing it, so at the beginning of the year, I challenged myself that I want to gain 2 levels in bouldering or 2, So I go 2 to 3 times a week bouldering.
Yeah.
And then I would go maybe 2 times to the gym as well. But the nice thing about I've noticed, and my wife has also noticed, she's like, I like that you go bouldering because you like it's such a full body workout, a little bit in core and stuff. Yeah. So then you maintain pretty well. Then I mean day to day I bike, like commuting. well, yeah, I do it. I would like to do it more. And then
a pretty like active lifestyle.
Yeah. And then I would go running. Now I haven't been running because my knee started hurting a lot after the Spartan race. So I'm like letting it recover, and then I'll keep on running more.
Okay.
But yeah, I like definitely like the thing that I'm consistently doing the most right now is bouldering. And then we have talked about basketball. It's like, oh, I love it.
Because you have a background playing like semi-professional or like
as a teenager, like I played since 4th grade. I started playing in Costa Rica, and then when I got to Finland, I got to like if I would have continued, it would have been the junior A levels.
Okay.
If I don't know,
junior A levels.
So like the one after that would have been already like league playing league. Yeah. But we were allowed, where as high as I got, we were allowed to play in 2nd division.
Okay.
So in 2nd division, like adult male,
that's pretty good.
So that in Finland, and it was pretty good. So yeah, that's my like sports background. Yeah. But then I was.
And Finland is pretty good with basketball.
Yeah. Like now we have Markkonen representing.
He seems like a cool guy.
And he's now in the army.
I was gonna, because I would love to talk to you a bit more about your experience in the army. And he's doing his military service right now. Yeah. So
it's super funny.
Why do you think it's funny?
I think it's actually cool that he's going for it and doing it, because many people that have like a success in something else, they could argue the exception of it to the government and to the army, and still like get it. But then he was like, nah, I'm gonna do it. And I think like he's setting an example also for others to do it.
A huge role model for a lot of young Finnish people, I'm sure.
Definitely.
How long were you in the army for?
So I was for 1 year.
1 year. And you did the basic training for the first half of it? Or?
Yes, no, so in Finland, you either go to the army or do civil service. Yeah. And the only way you can get exception from those is if you have like a medical
exemption.
Yeah. Sorry. Medical exemption. And then you can usually like, then you can also like postpone it for some years if you are working or studying. But then you would have to eventually come in. So before I even went into the army, I knew that I want to stay for 1 year. Yeah. So you kind of like, normally you just go, and depending on how your basic training goes, you get appointed into half a year, 9 months, or 1 year.
Oh, they decide that for you.
Yeah, you can give your opinion, yes, really? but it's also like how
like you have to stay a year.
Yeah. So how it works is like, in a way, Finland is land mass, it's big, population wise it's small. Yeah. So then they, in a way, number wise, they know how many people they would need in just in case situations.
So it's pretty close to Russia.
Yeah. And just in case situations. So then they have like, regardless of what's the physical performance of that year's like intakes, they know that, okay, we need, just throwing numbers, I don't know, like we need 10 people in this position, 10 people in this position. So if everyone is saying like, no, I just want to do 6 months, they're like, we still need to take the 10 people into this position. So we just have to take these, like the ones that are doing the best, we need to put them into these and leading positions, stuff like that. But I knew that I wanted to stay for the whole year. And I applied. You can separately apply for like the special forces. So I applied to the special forces, where I then needed to go and do all these physical tests and mental tests as well.
Wow.
And
what were the mental tests?
Or there's just some like questions, and to see how your logic is, and also to make sure you're not insane or crazy.
You just like to shoot guns.
So, and then there was these physical tests, which were pretty simple, I guess. But then they were good, of course. And they would just take in the top ones.
Even for the special forces, you said the physical was simple, or what did you have to do? For
no,
the
so
physical? Maybe for you they were simple, but
no. So I think the hardest was. Do you know what a Cooper run is?
Yeah.
So you run 12 minutes, and see how far you get.
Yeah.
So there was a limit of you had to run over 2,800, I think.
Okay.
So that you can get in.
That should be doable.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty doable. And then the thing is, like, they would take only. So I don't know. it's like 90 spots, 100 spots, I don't know, and they would take the top of those. Of course, they won't take the lower end, and then incorporate into your physical tests is also like those how you perform with the logical thinking and math
being
tests.
Ranked and then,
and then I did the tests and I got to know that I was in. So I did the tests in the spring, and then in the summer was then when I had to go in. So I was in, and the nice thing about this is that like when I went in, I was with the same group of people that also applied for the same place. So everyone was more motivated because we all wanted to be there, and we all applied. And we were really, I would say, we were capable. And this is funny because like for the people now, me explaining to you like as an outsider and not from someone not from Finland, you probably have like, wow, super interesting. But like for Finnish people, I don't know. It can be a little cringe, but I feel like the Finnish army, it's surprisingly good right now. And
I'm sure like if any young man has to go through some sort of military service, it just reaches a different standard. Like
you get to do interesting things, and like you learn definitely a lot to do with like discipline. Like the boot camp or like the first weeks, it was. You had to learn to be so patient. Also, just knowing like, hey, I am here. I have zero say on anything. I just have to obey everything they tell me. And I think that does so much good for people that might have an ego or might have like authority issues. Like there you can't just
drilled.
You're being drilled. And if you have something to say against it, they will make sure that you end up being quiet eventually. So there's a lot to learn from that. And then like little by little, we gain more knowledge and responsibility and rank. So then you start going up more. Then you start eventually training other people and teaching them how to do things. But yeah, it was a nice year. Like I got to definitely do things that you would never do, of course, like in the civil life.
No, everyone should check out your Instagram because I was scrolling down and I was just seeing pictures with these huge AKs in front of like tanks and stuff, and I was like, yo.
But now I do. That's crazy. It's fun. It was a good time. And actually, in 4 weeks, I have to go back for 1 week.
Oh.
Yeah. So you get, because then after the army, you are like in the reserve. So then they maintain the reserve. So you go here and there, like you get invited to go back to maintain your skills in a way.
Just have to make sure that you're still shooting straight and stuff. Yeah.
I guess so, yeah. Or then they know like, okay, this guy, we're not going to keep him anymore. He's not shooting straight.
Does that happen too?
No, that as well. Like it can, if you have physical problems, for example, and they realize, okay, maybe let's change his position or something like that.
This is an interesting topic that just comes to my mind, like being in the army while being Christian. I have a good friend who I met in Australia who is from the States, and he was also in the, I don't know what special forces he was in the US military, but I think it were the Marines. So you have the SEALs, like, which is like the top ranked, and then the Marines, I think, are just kind of below that. I'm not 100% if it was the Marine. Anything. It was like a pretty elite group of guys, and he was doing the program for 4 years actually, and he was like 3.5 years in, and he became radical about his faith, I guess in a good way, where he would start, going to church more frequently and taking his faith more secret. Like he was a Christian,
being open about it.
He took it more serious, and one day he was taken to, I think, like the officers or the lieutenants or whatnot, and they called him into the office and they asked him this tough question of, we've seen you become more and more serious about your faith. Radical is probably the wrong word. I should probably clip that out anyways. Like you become more and more serious about your faith. We're just wondering if you can still follow our calls and if you're still willing to obey us if, for example, you're sent out and the call is to shoot someone and kill someone as, a U.S. soldier.
Yeah.
And he was confronted 3.5 years into his service. And after 4 years of like having completed that program, he would have had a bunch of perks, like being able to study for free, which is a huge thing
in the US. It's massive.
Obviously. Then you have all these veteran benefits and just a whole ton. I think you have free healthcare and stuff, which is also huge in the US. 3.5 years into the program, he was confronted with that question. and he just kind of felt God telling him, no, I wouldn't be comfortable shooting someone, killing someone. I don't know if you were ever put in that situation, and obviously you haven't been sent out abroad or anything. So obviously no, but the conflict still kind of exists.
No, definitely.
Like,
you know, it's
being Christian, and then you know,
it's funny. I literally yesterday was talking about this with my wife.
Interesting. Okay.
I good, like when it comes to when it comes to shooting someone, killing someone, I think like and when it comes to the army, like also in the Bible, in the Old Testament, there was God's army. And they, of course, it's not, you're not just reading it, it's like fairy tales and like this like soft. No, it was manly. It was crazy manly thing, like with swords. Like nowadays you have bullets and guns, it's a little bit more clean, but like with swords it's just like, it's nasty. It gets crazy nasty right away.
Blood all over the place, I'm sure.
and I mean, I think I definitely went through those thoughts in the army, and I was after I finished the army, I would have had the opportunity to go out. But then I chose not to do it, not to go. I wanted to focus on my studies. I felt from God that I should do that, and I'm glad, because otherwise I don't think I would have met my wife. So then I really thought about it, and I think I came to the conclusion that I would, because if I'm the one hesitating, it's my hesitation might cost the life of one of my like friends, colleagues, or like one of my like unit members, and that's something that would be so much harder for me to maybe live with than the other side. And then
that's crazy.
But it's I know.
And I'm not saying crazy in like a judgmental way.
I know.
Like,
I know what you. But like, it's like it's
faced those questions of like, and you were in that situation where you were in the military, right? And like, if that order came, then and then I was like, or I really thought like, okay, I feel like I would have to maybe decide to obey and do, because you're in the moment. Of course, you're taking your safety over you, over your group, and I mean, if you're defending your country, you're defending your country as well. And not at all saying like, if I start thinking about the individual level of who I'm against, I might like, God created also that person. God loves also that person. That person also has a family.
Exactly. Like I feel like I can't in the moment start thinking about all those things. Because it's a cost for also like my side of it. Course, and I feel like I was more like I came to at peace with being like, okay, if it ever becomes a reality, I would definitely like pray about it and ask God to help me in the process. But I think I would not hesitate, do and act, and then live with the consequences of that and work it through. Because then, or if I feel like if the situation would come, get called to go, and I feel that it's completely against right now me or what God is having for me, and that, then I would find other ways of serving the country, or like serving in the place. And you can talk about it, but in a way, like also you have that side in the if there's a war in a country, different laws come into place. And there's many countries have the law that if you don't obey the commands, you're no use, so they will just no, you're not a traitor. You're not used, so they would just like even kill you. Like that's in history, like in also in the history in Finland, like they killed people that abstained from fighting or attacking. So I think like it's such a hard thing to answer, because it comes so much against values, morality, and of course it disrupts the peace where we're living in right now. And for example, now in Ukraine, and like how everything is, there is no peace right now. It's war. It's war. It's so different. People are living in such a different surroundings, such a different reality, that like these questions of morality are not as heavy, or like I don't know if I am that justified to say, but it's just so different. Like it's maybe super hard to actually try to imagine yourself in that situation unless you actually are in that situation. So I feel like that applies to so many things in life. It's always easy for us
as an outsider to judge someone or say, oh, how could you make that decision? But if you're actually in their shoes and you're going through what they're going through, might be a much harder decision to make. And even though you might see, oh, this is the right easy call, this is so clear, why don't you choose to do that? It's like, no, their context and what they're going through and what they've experienced can make it a whole lot more difficult. And just one question, is Finland part of the NATO?
We're the new member,
right? That was just recently announced. Wow.
I actually want to lighten it up a little bit. Funny. So Costa Rica is one of the countries that does not have an army in the world.
Okay.
So all my friends from Costa Rica and my aunties and stuff, they were like, their idea. So one thing that I definitely got into the army, my idea of like what you see in the movies and all this, it's not that like it's so different. Like it's this massive organization and all the logistics going into this. It's very different. But then like, my parents came to visit me into a military base, and then my dad was like calling with one of my aunties, and then she wanted to talk with me, and we're just talking the normal and stuff, and then she gets super serious and quiet. She's like, "Hey Troy, come closer. Like, how many people have you already killed?" And I started laughing. I was like, no.
No one yet.
It's not like this. It's not at all like this. Like it's so different. Like and it's funny. Like the perception people have about it is very different than the reality of just going to the military and serving. And I feel like there's so many good things about serving. Like it's
coming back again. Really, this whole loop now talking about serving. It's just a different type of serving your community, but in a greater scheme, serving your country in a way as well, right?
Yeah.
So you would definitely say it has benefited you and your character development, and you would recommend other young men doing the same? Or?
Yeah, I definitely like physically, mentally, it challenges you.
Mm-hmm.
It
made you stronger.
Yeah, it did. It or maybe it like it helped me realize that I'm capable of, like if you don't go through something, you don't actually know are you capable of doing it.
Yeah.
But then in the army, it's nice that like you get to go through things and with people that like they push you, help you, you push each other, you help each other to go through, and you are able to achieve those things. It's really nice, and like it's good. It feels super nice. And then I feel like also
like
because
doing hard things and then realizing I'm actually capable.
Exactly, yeah. And I feel in Finland, you usually get called when you're 18, 19. You finish your high school when you're 19.
Mm-hmm.
So then you would go to the army. And for so many people, they have had a really comfortable life, living with their parents, always gotten what they wanted, no need to do summer jobs, something like this. Just, chilling, living life. And then they do high school and stuff. So usually then people jump into uni and do university, and then finally get to do some actual work or get into the life. And I think the military service comes to disrupt really well this, and it makes you a little bit more independent. It shows you like, okay, matures you, and doesn't matter like in your home you maybe just ask and mom and dad give you everything, but here no you can't. You don't get anything. And it's like I think it's super good because it teaches you a lot. It can teach you a lot, and it's good. And yes, it can be really tough on some people, like to take it in like emotionally and mentally, but then it's like it is also changing in a way in Finland. Like people there, you have chances to talk with certain people if like it's actually like being really tough on you or hard on you, like emotionally and mentally. Like there's people and ways to talk and have the right way of talking, doing. But I feel like for so many people, it also gives them a chance. They finally, or they belong to something
that's greater than them.
That's greater than them, and they're like serving a bigger cause, and they right away see the effect or benefit of their work and doing. So it's like maybe for so many, it's the first time in their life that they belong into something and they're working in it and doing it. So that's why I feel like it's also good, so that they can experience that, see that. It helps you, of course, physically to be disciplined, be organized, all of these things. It helps. And then the nice thing, like if you stay for a year, a little longer, it usually means that you go through like this leadership school, you get more rank, which means that then you have to teach
Okay.
all these military things to other people. So you get leadership, you get opportunity to lead.
Huge, yeah.
It's huge, but at the same time, it can be bad because some people, they're like, oh, now I have power, and they misuse it really badly.
That's always the flip side.
Yeah, that is it. But it's okay. It's a good learning curve. Yes. Yeah, there's collateral damage here and there. It's okay, but people learn, and
that's always the flip side. And
it is the flip side. But I feel like it's like, for example, me and my CV, I have that there. And in Finland, people when see like, okay, he did this school, they would already a little bit like know that, okay, because he did this, he probably has or the traits he's talking about are true. Yeah. So it's good.
Backs you up.
Yeah, it backs you up.
Kind of gives
you
a head start in a lot of things.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's interesting because till this day, when I talk to people like you, and I have a couple other friends who served in different militaries of the world. I have that one guy who did it in the States. I have another good friend who I met in Australia who did it in Austria. I think they have a similar system still as you guys in Finland, and still because in Germany we used to have a system like that, but a couple of years ago, like way before I was ever faced with the decision if I want to do civil service or military service, it was taken away, and now people just do gap years in Australia. You know?
Which I think it's actually really good.
Which
to
is
take a gap
great for
year.
you as well. Taking gap year, I encourage
Definitely.
everyone to do it. But till this day, when I hear these stories from you, I'm thinking, oh man, maybe I should just do basic training for like 6 months, take off. You know, maybe I'm able to pause my job or something and do that. And you're laughing at it, but it might be a really good thing to do. But then I'm also thinking about the flip side, and especially the German army. There are always these weird scandals popping up with like, you know, because now you don't have people who need to do it. You have people who want to do it. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, what kind of people does that attract? Especially in Germany, especially with German history, those people can be problematic maybe. And then also like hierarchical orders and ranks and people misusing power and all those things. I just wish I might have had like a second dual citizenship and I could decide to do it in like Finland, which seems way less problematic to do that here, because here I'm also kind of thinking, okay, if I have on my CV that I've done like a year in the German army, some employers might look at that like, is this guy like a patriot, nationalist type of, you might already call me a Nazi or something, which then, okay, that's problematic on their end, but those are just
it can have a bad thought, but I feel like also then in the army as a Christian, like if you would go for 6 months, let's say new basic training, like, and
this is not me like planning to do it, it's just thinking about it. Like,
episode 17 is gonna be him in the
hey guys, just
so we're here now. You're bald.
All the hair is gone. Beard completely gone as well.
No, but I like it.
This is not going to age well.
No, but I feel like being a Christian in the army, it's like the environment is not as good. Also because it is a little bit of a toxic environment, especially because you're there with men, and I feel like also like I went to the army right after DTS, so I was in this bubble of 24/7
I see, okay.
God and Christian people and stuff, to a bubble of 24/7 not at all. Like these guys are like people they live in a whole different way, they look at life really differently, they don't know God and stuff like this. So of course like the way they would talk about certain things, their way of living, the things that they value and stuff were completely different to me. I was open about my faith there. I would just talk with them and stuff, but I did notice like it influenced me. Definitely, it did influence me. My way of looking at life, my way of talking about other people, my way of like what did I admire, how.
Yeah, but it's also real because when I was in Sydney, when I was at Hillsong College, and you mentioned bubble at YWAM, I lived in a consistent bubble there in like the suburbs of Sydney, and everyone I talked to had some form of connection to Hillsong or whatnot. All my friends went to college, and it's this constant bubble of just Christians around you, which living in Berlin is not the case. You know, they're like most often than not we are in the minority. So it is also really a real place to be in for sure.
Definitely. And it was like there I noticed like, okay, like I need to I need to make sure I'm maintaining my relationship with God.
Mm-hmm.
No one else is going to maintain it for me. I have to do it myself.
Yeah.
In the YWAM bubble, yes, it was so much easier to maintain because everyone was striving for that and going for that. Then I noticed like the importance of like when I had weekends off, I would go to church, and also like I feel like there my relationship with my parents, especially with my dad, and with friends, like I started talking about things like what was hard and stuff like this. And then I even when things were maybe hard or harder, I remember like in the night when everyone else was sleeping in the room, I would just be listening to worship in my on my bunk and just like wide awake and just in a way like praying. And I would even write down the prayers that I had. And it's funny because now I can go back to the prayers and be like, oh wow,
that's
like,
crazy thing, right?
Yeah,
like prayer journaling.
Yeah, it's so cool to see how
prayed for years ago.
Yeah. But it's like, and then what I mean, then there's like there's the positive things to the army as well, like many things that you can learn, and you can also learn these things outside of the army. You just have to be super intentional about it. So it's like it's doable to do. Then there's that whole fun side that you get to shoot guns and drive tanks and do all these things that those you need
throw
to end up going throw grenades. You end up going to the you end up going to you have to go to the army to actually do that. So yeah.
And I can also imagine, because you mentioned this too, that your unit or the people you're with, you can, like, I'm sure you're just bound with them and grow like this brotherhood.
Definitely,
I mean, always like in movies and stuff you see it, but which I'm also aware that's probably a huge part of it, right?
Yeah,
like
it is.
The friends you meet there, you basically live with them in the same.
You literally live with them,
Yeah. So you might also make friends for life. You know?
Yeah, definitely. I've made really good friends there. Now I haven't had contact in a while, but it's fun. Like last year we went. I was called into the army again for 1 week. This year again, so it was so funny. It was like a reunion. Yeah. It's like a paid vacation. We get to shoot guns with the guys again, and like everything is scheduled. We just have to do everything they tell us to do, and food is served and stuff like this. So I'm actually excited for it to be able to see them again, and then talk about, hey, how are you doing? Were you able to study? Are you going this? It's a nice reunion. With some of them, I stay with in more contact than with others, but definitely there's like good people, of course.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
I love that. Oh, I'm still thinking now. Just trying to think if I could get me a Finnish passport or something.
Man, marry a Finnish girl.
I would have to learn Finnish.
Yeah, that's maybe the hardest thing.
Maybe Austrian. Maybe I can trace back some Austrian roots or something, claim a citizenship, and then. Although Austria, I don't know, I feel like their military might also be problematic. I mean, Hitler was Austrian. So. Anyways, let's not get into too much of the depth of it. Hey, we covered a whole ton, man. I'm just looking at the time. It's like an hour and 40. And
really? Oh, wow.
That's it always goes by quicker than it feels like. But we covered so much, and I feel like we've done like a nice conclusion. We started off talking about serving others, going into like relationship and marriage and how that has shaped you. And let me check my notes real quick if there was anything that like was really on my.
There's the one. I mean, you can then try to edit how it works well.
We keep it raw as
the one
possible.
story about the finances that I wanted to say about like that crazy story of me and God. I think this will be nice. I've shared it. I shared it a couple of times as well with other people, and it's like I feel like there was a big learning thing for me there, and I hope that also people can learn from it. And so I already said about my background. So when I wanted to go and do DTS. DTS was like a kind of like an obvious thing for me to go and do it because I had seen how many people had done it and that it's been good. I already knew lots of things in DTS, and DTS is the discipleship training school. Yeah. So I wanted to go and do it in Australia. I ended up doing it or contacting in Perth and send my application. Everything is fine, but you probably have heard most of the people that go into doing DTS, they don't have the money for it.
How much is it?
This one was, so I was living in Finland at the time. So you have to think about the cost of flying to Perth.
That's already like 1,500.
Something like that. Yeah. Then I think the lecture phase was around 2,500 euros, something like that.
Visa you need.
And
500.
Yeah. let's say around 3,000 the lecture phase time. Okay. Then you have outreach. So first 3 months is lecture phase, then outreach. And outreach, it depends completely on where you're going. But they had given an estimate about 3,000 euros. So we're already 6,000 euros in.
Yeah.
And sorry, then there's the flight back. So 7,000, 8,000 euros, like with the flight back and forth. Yeah.
Around that. Yeah.
Sorry.
So where did you go for your outreach? Sorry.
I went to. I'll get to it.
Okay.
So then, knowing that okay, I need to pay 10K, and they're expecting me to pay the lecture phase when I get there, so that they can. That's like normal custom that they had there.
Yeah.
I finished my high school, or before finishing my high school, that's spring. So my DTS started in October, and my school ended in June. And I was like, okay, I have time to work. But before that, I was one day really struggling. I was like, oh, I have no idea how I'm going to get this money. And I was like really just praying and asking God, like what should I do? Like, how is this going to happen? Just like, being a little anxious about it. And then we were at this worship night, and we were praying for mountains in our life. Like struggles in our life. So I was like, okay, I definitely have this financial mountain in front of me right now, coming ahead. And then I just prayed, and I was like, God, this financial mountain. It's in front of me, and this time it's just you and me. It's not like me with my family doing it. It's just you and me, God. And it's bothering me. I'm anxious about it. But God, I know that you're faithful. You have been faithful before to our family. So I just want to give this to you. And then there, I just felt such a big peace. And God just said, like, don't worry, I'll take care of you. And I think like that don't worry, I'll take care of you. Like I carried that with me. Stuck with it. Yeah. So then I just felt this peace, and I was like, okay, God has 3 options. He's either going to provide me a job, I'm going to work. Since from June to October, I can work, I can save up the money, perfect. Or someone is going to give me the money in a way.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna just be walking in the forest and trip over a rock and look under the rock and there's the money or something, or a combination of something like this. Yeah. So I was like feeling peace, like, okay, this is doable, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Then when my school ended, I went to work as an electrician.
And you did all kinds of jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. So I studied for high school. I did like a double degree type thing. I did my normal like high school degree and automation electrician degree at the same time.
What can't you do, bro?
So I was working as an electrician, and I'm like, okay, I'm winning enough that I can actually save up money until October to be able to pay all of it. I felt like I'm gonna be able to, because I'm living with my parents. I don't have any expenses. I will live at the minimum. And I started working, and 3 weeks into my work, there comes a chance for me to go to Costa Rica and lead an outreach there.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I can't do it. Like, I'm supposed to now work and save money.
Yeah.
But then I was like, no, like I'll pray and ask God. So I prayed, and I felt like God was telling me, yeah, like go and lead the outreach.
Yeah.
Then I was like, financially, it does not make at all sense.
No.
I got a chance to work for 5 weeks, and I had to right away spend the money to fly from Finland to Costa Rica.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I might have enough money to fly then to Australia, and that's it. But then I was like, okay, I'm going to be obedient to God. I'll say yes, and I'll go. Rationally, it didn't make sense. Financially, it didn't make sense. But God called, and I wanted to be obedient. So I went. It was really great outreach. It went really well. We got to do lots of good stuff, good work. And then the outreach ended, and I was like, okay, now what? Like I could... I have still 2 months before October, and I could go back to Finland, work those 2 months. So I was a little bit thinking about what to do, and then I thought about this one family friends of ours in the States, and they own a couple businesses, and they have been a massive blessing for us as a family, but then the ministry that my parents have been doing. So then I contacted them and said, like, hey, like I have 2 months now spare. I would love to come and like work for you guys. Yeah. And I said, I'm not expecting any like payments. I would just love to, like, I have this spare time. I would love to build a relationship with you guys, help in whatever way I can there. Yeah. And also like learn a little bit about business. I was super interested about it.
Yeah.
and they said like, yeah, come over. So I went over, and they had promised. They said like, yeah, come over. We'll pay you 800 euros a month, but you will be living with us, so you won't have any expenses. So I was like, okay, like I can pay already my flights to Australia and half of my lecture fees. Like we're slowly getting there. So then I was like, okay, I prayed. I felt peace about going there as well. So I was like, it's gonna be nice. Like I know I should take this next step. I'll do it. So I went there. And it was super nice, great time. Like 1 week in, and I was being as helpful as I could help in everything that was going on. And actually, one of their family members, like grandparents, passed away, so they had to go, and I came in, and I was like, I eventually ended up like running everything in the business.
Interim.
Yeah. And they were so thankful and grateful. They were like, Troy, like you actually have the capability to do this, and you're doing a really good job. That we actually
What kind of business was it?
So they owned gas stations and
Oh, it's the same. Your brother's.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then they said like, they said like, we want to pay you like how you should, because you're doing a really great job and you're helping us so much. And you came in a perfect time as well with the whole family situation. Dude. So then I started getting paid 600 a week.
Oh wow, from 800 a month to 600 a week.
And then I was like, okay, there we go. Now that's the thing I was waiting from God. And then I kept on working. It was really good. And there's where I got the perspective a little bit of like what it is to be a business owner, and that side of being in a business, like running a business. And that's why I wanted to study business. And one thing that I really admire in this family is like when it comes to missions and stuff, they know that their place is to make finances to be able to finance other missionaries and help them do things and be involved in projects and stuff like that. So it was super beautiful to see their heart in this and how crazy generous they are and stuff like this. So anyways, I ended up working, and I was fine like with the finances. Right before I go to the airport to leave to Australia, they're like, hey Troy, go and check your account, like we put a little gift, like goodbye gift for you, and we really are gonna miss you and we love you, and please come back. And it was an extra 3K.
Oh shoot.
So I was like, okay, now I'm like I'm more than enough. I have enough to pay everything. I'm fine. Like I was like, thank you God, like this is amazing. So I fly there, outreach. I pay my lecture phase. Everything is fine. Then during lecture phase, I felt from God that because I was doing video and photography, I was helping in the media team there. I was doing visuals for the base for our and also for like our DTS Instagram page and stuff. Yeah. Then I felt from God that I should buy a drone. Weird request. It was like I actually had to double check, because I was like, is this just me saying this to myself, or is actually God?
Real nice buying a drone. God, you told me to buy a drone, right?
So then I ran it through with a couple people, and we prayed about it together. And yes, we all felt peace, and like I went for it. I bought a drone, and I was still able to find. I had budgeted that I'm gonna save up 3,000 for the outreach. Yeah. And then I'm gonna. So I was fine. Then they come to announce where the outreaches are gonna be. So there were two options: one in Asia and one in Africa. And they asked us just to pray about which one you want to go to, and then they will let us know about how much it costs. Yeah. So then I pray, and I felt that I was supposed to go to Africa. And then when I got to know that, I and then also like during the time, I felt from God that he was asking me to help pay the lecture phase for some other people there. So I gave a little bit of money here and there for other people as well, so they could pay it. And I had the 3,000 for outreach. That was my budget. Yeah. Then when they released the budget, it was 6,000.
Oh shoot.
So I was like, oh no, here we go again. Now I'm here in this hole again, that I'm missing 3K. We are full on in lectures. We don't have a chance to work or anything like this. So I was like, okay, God, like I'm here because of you, and like you already provided. Like I trust you that you're gonna provide. Like let's see what happens. And time goes forward, and actually, like I had all the time in my head, I had this. Yes, I was praying, and I'll trust God and stuff. But my grandparents have had like a savings account for me since I was like born. Yeah. And they gave me access to it when I turned 18, and I had turned already. I was 19, so I had access to this. So then I was thinking like, okay, if I don't get the money anywhere, I'll just take it from there, and eventually I'll be working. I'll just put the money back there. Like I'll use it now that I need it. So actually, my trust was in that savings account, not in God.
Oh.
And I came to the realization. I was like praying about it. Like, God, why is nothing happening? Like the deadlines are coming soon. We're soon supposed to leave.
Yeah.
Other people are getting the money. I'm not getting anything. Like, what's happening? And then I felt God is like saying, hey, your trust is not actually in me. You're putting it into this account.
Yeah.
And then I felt God was saying like go and use the money in this account to pay the outreach for the people that are still missing it. and then come back. And I was struggling with that so much. Of course, it does not make sense. Especially that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
but I feel like
your grandparents saved up that money their entire life,
and God, like, here is where like feel like God wants our hearts. It's not about the amount or anything like that. It's our heart. And then I was like, okay, I knew that like, the longer I think about it, the more I'm just gonna stress about it. It's not gonna make it any easier. I know what I need to do. I'll just go and do it. I walk to the finance place of the base, and I say like, okay, here's this amount. I'm gonna put it to the people that are still missing their outreach. And I had one person in specific that I felt from God to do it, so I put it to them. Mm-hmm. And I told them, just don't tell them who it was. Tell them that it's God. Like God wants to pay this outreach for them. And then I was completely down. I was like, oh,
I'm back to scratch.
Yeah, and then
no money in my account.
Exactly. And then I just prayed. And I was like, God, like, here it is. I've given everything out. I'm 100% trusting in you now. Mm-hmm. Like now it's more of your problem than my problem. But like I was like, we're here now. Like, what now? And then the same evening, the leader of my DTS comes to me and he's like, Troy, someone came and paid your outreach, and they said like God told them that they should pay it, but didn't say like who it was. Yeah. So the same day, like I actually like put my heart 100% into God, like boom, someone. He delivered. So yeah, God came and provided.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, God, like that's amazing, and it really humbled me so much and taught me so much about money. Yeah. And like we work. We feel like, we work, we feel like we earn it, but actually at the end of the day, it's like God gives us the strength to work. God is the one that gives the capability, opens the opportunities. And I think it's more about like, we have to shift our perspective on it and not yes, we earn it, that we have done the work, it's ours, but God has given you the opportunity too. And from that place, also like that's something that I have challenged myself. We have challenged ourselves as like a marriage, but like I want to challenge others, like to ask God, like, okay, who can I invest into? How can I be generous right now with this that you have given to me first? Wow. And out of generosity also, there comes really nice things, man. Yeah. Yeah.
And it overflows, you know?
It definitely does.
At the end of the day, like, it's all God's anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you have now some editing to do.
No, I won't edit any of it. People need to hear that story, because actually the first point of the notes I took of things to talk about with you was like, one point was just like, oh, crazy as God story. Like just hearing like a cool testimony to inspire people, encourage people, and that even speaks, that speaks to me a lot, and that's still something I need to continuously learn of. Like, this isn't mine, you know, all the things that he's blessed me with, at the end of the day, he chose to do that, and then it's his, you know, for everything, really, he deserves all the praise and thankfulness and gratitude, because we're just mere, what's this verse? Like mere humans made out of clay or something, you know? Yeah. So really appreciate you sharing that, bro. That was cool. And awesome to wrap this up as well, I think, because we're almost at 2 hours now. Yeah. And I doubt we'll see how many people get to this point. But that was really cool. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Thank you, man, for having me here.
Hey, dude, anytime we're going to do this again once you're back in Berlin.
Or we do an episode in Finland, man.
Or in Finland, man.
You come over, we do an episode in Finland.
Dude, I'll wrap up all this stuff and
we do it in the sauna. Like, we go to the sauna. We're there at the lake view, chilling there.
Cool ice bath or something.
Yeah.
We got to, man.
So it's not gonna be a 2 hour because it's cold.
All right, man. If you have any last words, take us away, and then we'll wrap this up. Oh, do you want to leave it as that?
I think I will leave it as that.
Okay,
Man. Thank you so much for having me.
Cool.
It was amazing, and keep on doing what you're doing. I think like it's nice to I think from my perspective, it's nice to be able to share some stuff, and hopefully people get something out of this.
Almost definitely.
But also like you're doing a really good job, man. Keep on doing it.
Appreciate that, bro. Yeah. Cool. That's cool to hear. That's encouraging because you were here the other day. We were like, oh, I've really been enjoying the podcast. I was like, bro, you should come on. Let's do it. So that's always cool. Just, and that's kind of the goal of this, just giving people a platform to share their story, their life experiences, what they've been learning, and things they're passionate about. So it's really cool. I think we all learned a lot today. Peace out, guys.